Mr. Garcia, do we have other speakers?
Yes, next we have Ms. Kristan Lloyd with donated time by Jessica Lloyd, Alyssa Lloyd, and Mr. George Cambrero for a total of 12 minutes.
Do we get 12 minutes?
Is it,
Well,
is there a legal, do we have a stated policy of 9-minute total, or is 12 okay?
I'm not aware of any stated policy,
Okay,
so.
12 minutes it is.
Awesome, because I'm a little over. And I have a presentation, the staff was so nice to allow a presentation as well, because that's also not written down in the Zinni standards. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak and for the presentation time and for my girls' support. Now is definitely, oh, I should say I'm Kristan Lloyd with the Historical Society. I'm the treasurer and also the chair of the DIS organization, as Kenny calls us. We like to say we're very organized, we just have nowhere to go right now. And the first slide, this is the perfect time. The timing is now, where the future and the present and the past can come together and come to an agreement on the Brown House. Stephen Covey says start with the end in mind, so I want you to take a look at what we actually think could be a possibility, the end result of restoration, of saving the Brown House. I think we've talked about this, a local goods market and visitor center. This is, like you said, the applicant said, a feature. It's right in the middle of the project. It is a gathering place where local artisans can come, people can come and learn about Wildomar. It can also be used as a community space. We're quite lacking in that in our area, and it can be reconfigured even throughout the building to meet those possibilities. What we're most excited about is the education center part of it. The hands-on experience that we can work with kids. Our local students already know all about our history. They put us to shame sometimes because in my old age I kind of forget who everybody is, trying to get everything together, but they're right on it and they know about the history. They know that we were an agrarian city and what that means. I don't know necessarily if I know exactly what that meant at their age. But the hands-on exhibits and what we can actually do is exciting for the Wildomar Historical Society. And again, imagine the possibilities. The applicant talked about a gathering place, and it's not just for children, it's for adults as well. What the Penny Pickles down in Temecula brings in, this would also do the same with kids, and then you could also go to the museum and then go shopping, have lunch, have dinner. But it's also a place for people to gather on a front porch. We could have evening events there where we could listen to old radio programs and share the history. The history of the house dates back to 130 years. So throughout our local history, we can share all parts of it, not just a certain part of it. I'm excited about the collaboration. I've been in the house just recently, and if you look up into the ceiling, we've taken down a couple of the boards, or they've been taken down for us. You can see the knob and tube. And how exciting to have the knob and tube visually be seen, and then also be able to explain and have a hands-on experiment with the kids to learn about circuitry, to see how things actually worked back then. And you never know what you're instilling in the young minds of children. I'm thinking we could also have summer science experiments there. So collaboration with our local businesses such as SCE, they could work with us to take on that electrical part of it. Our local water district, we can learn how water is pumped. They can have hands-on experience, creating their own water pumps and see actually how gravity flows. Again, the possibilities are endless. I want you just to imagine what the possibilities of that building could hold. This is the other option, which really, according to Kenny, that's what he wants to happen. And I think that's unacceptable. The potential to that house is there, and the Wildomar Historical Society does own it. So with that, tonight, and I don't quite understand the whole CEQA recognition of it being historically significant, but I think this is a time for us to say that it is historically significant as a community. The Brown House has been an integral part of the history of Wildomar. The house was built in 1886. The community of the Wildomar was established November of 1886. Again, that's 130 years. The structure and two of the outbuildings are actually seen in the map of Wildomar of 1887 in the bottom right-hand corner with the train going across the street. And really, you've got to know your history to know your future. When we first started this, just the social media aspect of, we had a standing page of the Historical Society with 4 people interested. A community member said, okay, that's enough, we're tired of seeing the house in the shape it's in. And he started the David A. Brown page, and they quickly went up in numbers. So 534 people were part of them, and now we're up to 378 people that are interested. And these people that are for the project and want to know how can they help. So what can we do tonight? Really, there's more to the story. On Appendix F9, I just want to point out that you left out David A. Brown and his historical significance as a Brown family member. The conclusion from also the same appendix, because the design, materials, workmanship of the farmhouse have been physically compromised through room additions, it doesn't convey enough significance adequately, which conflicts with Appendix F3, which states that the house interior has been extensively altered. However, positions and size of the rooms have remained intact, which means if we break it down to the older building, that is intact and would be significantly adequate, in our opinion. And it also states that the house is listed on the Historic Resource Inventory and that the house and outbuildings should be protected. There's more to the story on page 26. Sorry, wrong page. Sorry, okay. The California Registry criteria, however, subject says that if you continue on after that one statement, under the California Register criteria, the subject property retains enough of its historical character and appearance to be recognized as a historic resource. Consequently, subject's property appears eligible for the California Registry under the criteria related to exemplify the broad patterns of California's history and cultural heritage. And it goes on furthermore, just stating that the subject's properties associated with the Browns is of sufficient local importance. So there's 4 criteria, and I want to state that we do qualify for almost all 4. Number 1, associated with events. They've made a significant contribution to the broad patterns, local or regional. California became a state in 1850. 1865, after the Civil War, there was another movement prompted by the Homestead Act. The transcontinental movement arrived in 1869. Our own railroad came through in 1885. Wildomar established in 1886. And then Oscar Brown became one of our first prominent pioneering families. And I think without that whole timeline and his working with the train, the business of the train, he might not have come and the Browns might not have settled in Wildomar. We also qualify for number 2, and that is actually documented in the Thomas study on both pages 3 and 14. And then it's also represented on Appendix F7 on page 25 that states, and it states that it's not valuable or available as architectural, but is sufficient of local appearance to appear eligible. So what I'm asking tonight is for us to just consider making sure that it is recognized for its historic value. And we're looking forward to the project. We've been a ship without a home for a long time, and we're ready for this project to go through. Thank you for your time. Do I have more time? Oh, I have more time.
2 minutes and 40 seconds.
I wrapped it up early. Okay, let me go back. Sorry about that. I was running down. Good, because I want to actually get to this criteria number 3. Which inside all of the documentation states we do not qualify. However, considering the resurgence of the popularity of restoring, preserving, and protecting farmhouses, I believe a new study could find that the dwelling does indeed reflect and would qualify for criteria 3 because it embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type in a period, which is the agrarian period, which existed between 1866 and 1820. And there's an excerpt here from builders.com that's fairly recent that just talks about farmhouses always being a quintessential part of America. Criteria 4 has yielded or has the potential to yield information important to the history of the local area. Again, sorry about that. Again, the Brown House had the potential to yield information about the history of the local area. Wildomar History Society has documentation on weather patterns, letters, documentation subject to importance to the community. The house itself will yield information about how electricity flows, how water was pumped, how construction of the past differs from today's standards, and the potential is endless. On Appendix F8, the Brown summary, should also include that during the Board of Supervisors meeting, sorry I'm not keeping up, for the approval of the Ground Project where it originally sat, it was noted that Beazer and the Wildomar Historical Society worked out an agreement to help with relocation costs and relocation options and to provide something terrific for the community. And that was from Tony Del Grippo from Beazer. So the Brown House, I just want to state, was never temporarily being stored on the property. It just is now in the plan. It was always going to be a key feature of the development, and you can see this, even though it never went through and was approved. This is actually a submittal of the 2006 Baxter Crossing project, and you can see it, the Brown House, right there in the middle. Can't poke to it, but it's there. With the historical building relocation, and it was listed there. So it was never a temporary location. And we really are looking forward to this project pushing forward.
Thank you, Mrs. Lloyd.
Done.